Okay, one more video on this section, section 7.3. We're looking at the practice test number 14. We have solved the equation interval between 0 and 2 pi. Okay, we got an exponential. We had a similar problem like that on number 2. 2 to the tan x power equals 1/4. Again, what I'm going to do here is I want to think 2 to the what power equals 1/4. 2 to the what power equals 1/4. 2 to the what power equals 1/4. 2 to the negative 2. Okay, so again, you got to think it's in a fraction, so it's going to be negative. 2 squared is 4, so 2 to the negative 2 is 1/4. Now, because it's like that, I can just say tangent of x equals negative 2. Okay, what do I do now? I have tangent x equals negative 2. So if I look at my sheet, my trig bit sheet, I don't have anywhere where it says negative 2. So these are not my answers. Okay, so what I'm going to do to find the answer, I'm going to say x, I'm going to do what's the inverse of tangent? I'm going to do tangent inverse, or inverse tangent, I'm sorry, not tangent inverse, I'm going to do inverse tangent. So I'm going to do inverse tangent of negative 2. So I'm going to put that into my calculator. Ooh, I take that back. We don't want to do inverse tangent. Let's do arc tangent. Again, arc tangent would give us more answers. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so again, to solve for x here, I'm going to do arc tangent on both sides. Okay, I'll let you. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and start over a little bit here. Okay, so again, we have tangent x equals negative 2. Okay, because that's not on my trig bit sheet, I'm going to do arc tangent of both sides. The arc tangent and the tangent cancel each other out. X equals arc tangent negative 2. Okay, but then when you type that in your calculator, you want to use the inverse tangent button. So we have x equals arc tangent negative 2. So I'm going to still use tangent inverse of negative 2. Okay, I'm going to make sure my mode is in radians, so my answer is going to be in radians. So my answer is negative 1.10. Okay, but the problem is that that's outside of the interval that we want. Okay, so we have x equals negative 1.1071. Okay, but that is not an acceptable answer. Okay, this is when we have to think about what is the period of tangent again. What is the period of tangent? Period is pi. So we would have plus n pi. Okay, so if n was 0, then this would be the answer, and that's not an acceptable answer. So let's go ahead and add pi to this answer. So we're going to take this answer and we're going to add 1 pi to it. So plus pi. Okay, that is in between 0 and 2 pi. And that is an acceptable, because it is between 0 and 2 pi, that's an acceptable answer. So x equals 2.0344. Okay, but if we think about that, 2 pi is about 6.28. So we're going to have another one. If we add another pi to this answer, whoops, add another pi, that is also an acceptable answer, which is between 0 and 2 pi, which is 5.1760. And those would be our two answers. So again, we were looking for between 0 and 2 pi. That's why we got that. And because it wasn't a nice number, we have to put in tangent inverse of that number. But you can see tangent inverse only restricts us to one answer. That's why we have to say it's the arctangent. Because the arctangent would be this number plus any multiple of pi. So here we added pi, that was an acceptable answer. Here we added another pi, that was also another acceptable answer because it's between 0 and 2 pi.